Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's Thursday. It's Korner Booth pregame.
No debate, cause it's all. I'm too official, got the drip, I got the sauce. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, yeah. Still standing and defiant. Slay the competition, cause I'm walking like a giant. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth.
Love to see this team add another receiver, whether that's trade or free agency.
It's okay. Pittsburgh's the AARP retirement home.
There's a bunt record. That person's never going to have to worry about that thing ever getting broken.
I hate analytics. I think it's ruined the game I grew up loving.
I will do unspeakable things for the Giants to win this rule.
Oh, pause. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Korner Booth Podcast. We are back here live on a Monday. Hopefully, all of you guys survived Snowmageddon like we did. Spent the entire weekend watching football, eating food, watching 2 out of the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, and just enjoyed the last 48 hours. But it was all good until I had to go outside and shovel our walkway about an hour ago, and it was just a foot and a half of snow. It was not fun. But hope we did some football this weekend. We had some good NBA stuff. We had some MLB stuff. And we got some Pro Bowl news. Oh, my God. I'm not ready for this. All right. Nate's off today. He's under the weather. So joining me is just my amazing co-host, Mr. Matterdazzo. Matty, happy Snowmageddon recovery. How you feeling?
I am feeling exhausted. I probably spent about 3 hours outside clearing everything off. So my situation's interesting. So being in the area that I live in, where there's a predominant presence of young kids that like to steal cars. So my wife has a Kia Soul, and that's one of the top brands that they take around here. Plus they take Hyundais and Toyotas, whatever they get their hands on. It's mostly Kia and Hyundai. So we keep her car in the garage, but I got to put the snowblower in the front because she has to get out of the garage. So I got to lug that thing through the 17 inches just to get to the front, clear everything off, get it in the back. And then I had my dog, who is, not very tall standing, is not going to be able to see over the 17 inches of snow. So I had to snowblow him a path outside to use the bathroom. And I had to snowblow a path for the oil people to get to my tank hookup to fill up everything eventually. So a lot of just outside today. Very tired. Still got to the gym and got a nice workout in, but pretty exhausted, but doing really well.
Oh, I walked on a walking treadmill for about maybe 30 minutes. And I said, I'm good. That's all I need today. Now it's me going back to obviously full go tomorrow and back in the routine. But it was kind of nice taking a couple of days off. And it was honestly yesterday I moved I don't think I left the rooms I was in the entire time. I got up, I cooked 3 meals for me and Miss Katie. We watched football, watched Lord of the Rings. And then, just today, hung out, watched the rest of the 3rd movie. And then, I spent an hour cleaning off her car, my car, then coming back here, cleaning off more stuff. It was a fun time. But we got a lot of football to talk about. So I guess we'll kick it off with yours truly taking the center stage.
Don't worry about your drinks, just put them all on the tab. This is First Rounds on Me. Here's your host, Jared Clint.
It's hilarious to me that the talented quarterback classes we had in 2020 and 2018, only 3 quarterbacks have made it to a Super Bowl from those classes. And also, even scarier, only 3 teams have won the AFC title game, I believe, in the last 15 years, Matt. I think that's the number. Something like that.
17.
17, something like that. It's just been the Bengals, Chiefs, and the Patriots. What's even crazier is that in a class with Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, Who's the only quarterback of those guys to actually make it to a Super Bowl? Sam Darnold. Sam.
I meant, yeah.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. Wild. I got to give my flowers to Sam Darnold, man. He looked great last night. Not a lot of bad throws. Everything was clean. They know how to utilize his skill set. West Coast Sammy's a real thing. I am very scared for my lady and her family's team. I think you just got to give Sam Darnold. This is like the ultimate comeback story. This dude was thought to be out of the league. Like, we were making fun of the Seahawks when they signed Sam Darnold to replace Geno Smith. We're like, what are they doing? And now he's one game away from basically rewriting his entire story, even though I think he's already rewrote it enough as it would be. But as that stands, I can't be nothing more than proud of this guy and happy for him. I think this is the coolest story of the year. Obviously, the Patriots is such a cool story to begin with, but for the Seahawks, you have to understand what they've accomplished with a guy who is considered damaged goods. Matt, you can attest to this as a Jets fan, but it really comes down to the simple fact that, dude, he's done everything the Seahawks have asked him and more and succeeded at it. So I got to give a tip of the cap to Sam Darnold. That's all I got for first round. But, dude, it was I am beyond impressed with this guy. I think he's played phenomenal this season. He hasn't had to be Superman. He's just had to be good enough for them to win the games.
No, and so my big thing with Sam was obviously an amazing year with the Vikings. Not a great performance in the playoffs round one. So you're kind of wondering, all right, was this just lightning in a bottle, or is this the new and improved Sam Darnold? And he has shown us that he is the new and improved Sam Darnold. And I was very skeptical of him going to Seattle off the one good year of the bad playoff exit. And he was inheriting a team that in the previous season didn't have a strong offensive line. And my fear for him was that he wasn't going to play as well as he did with Minnesota because, I mean, when he's pressured, he's not. I mean, you saw it in the Jets. That man was running for his life, and nothing worked out. So I was worried about that, but he has proved us all wrong. And I love Sam, and I love seeing the Jets fan base also have his back because none of us hate Sam, none of us dislike Sam or have any bad blood towards him. He's a great guy. He did nothing wrong on the field, off the field, in the press conferences. It's great to see him have the success that he has. Not that I don't miss Sam. It just wasn't going to work out here if he stayed. We would have continued to run him into the ground. He was already 3 years. He was on 2 coaches, 2 GM regimes. The best thing for him was for the Jets to let him go. And he has corrected himself over on the West Side. And I hope that, obviously me being a Jets fan, I'm rooting for them to win the Super Bowl, the Seahawks. But it's great to see how he turned his career around and he is now just who he is. And, you could give me your input on it. I think it's more embarrassing that the Vikings let him walk than if you go back, 5 years ago to when the Jets let him go find somebody else or however long it's been. I think it's more embarrassing the Vikings didn't retain him compared to the Jets saying, we're gonna let you go.
I think Minnesota was hamstrung by the whole JJ McCarthy thing. I think if there was no JJ McCarthy, Minnesota's not dumb enough to not bring Sam back for another shot. I mean, everyone has a bad playoff game. It literally has happened to almost every great quarterback in this league. I'm not saying Sam Darnold's a great quarterback, but he's earned the moniker of, hey, listen, this guy's worth the deal he's been given. The biggest thing for me is we start to look at Seattle as a team. And listen, like, the Rams play them tough, but, dude, they railroaded San Fran. They probably would have demolished Philly. I don't think Philly would have put up a fight again. Philly might have done okay against them, but, like, dude, their defense, it's not that weak. And the Rams played their hearts out, and they still just – it seemed like Seattle was keeping the Rams in the game last night more than the Rams were in the game themselves. It's like Tariq Woolen's taunting penalty literally made me want to pull my hair out. One, also, the taunting penalties need to be thrown into the dumpster and sent down river. Like, it's the stupidest thing in the world because they don't call it on most teams. They call it on certain players only. And the lack of consistency is what's so stupid to me. But also, by the way, Matt, we are now officially tied going into Super Bowl Sunday.
We are.
Yep.
This is fun.
Oh, listen,
We already have our pick set. We already know.
Yeah, we already know what's happening. I've basically, obviously for certain loyalty reasons, it's pretty evident who I'm going with. Listen, I would be very happy for Seattle if they win this thing. Let's not split hairs here, but I'm definitely looking forward to the game. I don't know if we're gonna do a Thursday show this week. Because remember last year we took a Thursday off because it's like there's nothing to talk about this Thursday. There's no games. So this might be it for us until next Monday. So we'll keep you guys posted. But I definitely think looking at this, the setup of the both teams, this is going to be a fun game. New England's defense to me has played incredible, and we'll talk about that game in a second. But let's go back to the Rams. The Rams, I think, were just happy to. They got exactly where they should have been. Like NFC runner-up was their ceiling. I never believed in this preseason Rams hype, like a Super Bowl bust. I'm like, yeah, they got some good players in the defense, but I'm not scared. Yeah, Matthew Stafford looks like the MVP candidate, but I'm not like what I'm like whatever. Honestly, it kind of turns into this whole thing of like, hey, listen, Stafford got outdueled by Darnold, and honestly, like the whole McVay hype to me has been burnt out and crisped up and thrown in the garbage because it's like he's like there are certain head coaches who own real estate in his head. Like Sirianni, I think owns a permanent like vacation spot in Sirianni's not in McVay's noggin. Like there's other ones. I think now Mike McDonald is doing the same thing. The Rams used to own Seattle. Now I think 2 out of 3 they took this year, counting the playoffs. It might be 3 out of 3. I'm not sure, but dude,
Yeah,
like
I think it might be. No, the Rams beat them once on a field goal miss or something.
oh,
like
that's
that. So
right, but still,
it might be 2 to 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. And listen, that like the one they lost, they almost beat the Rams anyway. The whole Mike McDonald, I think, is going to have a long tenure in Seattle, and this team is disgusting. All they need to do is add another pass rusher in the offseason because obviously Tank Lawrence can't play forever, but I think this is the NFC North, NFC West king for the next few years. Very similar to how Philadelphia has kind of been like the top tier team. Even if they don't win the division, they're right on the tail in the wild card. So I don't know. Like, listen, the Rams are good, but you saw the flaws, and now, like, does Stafford, is he done? I mean, he played his heart out, and they still lost. And some of those throws, man, should have gotten picked off.
Yeah. I was going to say, they didn't. It wasn't really, I wouldn't put it on Stafford for loss. He did play great. He had over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Both quarterbacks played great. Really, it was just like you said, it was just the penalties on Seattle that were keeping the Rams in the game. Because at one point they took a 2-possession lead, and then we had the taunting from Woolen, and then it kind of turned it around a little bit. Momentum shifted. They made it within 4. Seattle got it done, but yeah, if it wasn't for those taunting penalties, you would probably be talking about a 10 plus, 11 plus point margin between the two to end this game. So Stafford has a year left on his contract. McVay said if he wants to play, he's back. So we'll see what he winds up doing. The way he played, arguably you could argue that he's the MVP this year. You could argue that May's the MVP this year. But either way, if he goes out, he went out on top. If he comes back, he's shown that he's got plenty in the tank to at least play that final year in his deal and go from there.
You know what the worst part about all this is that we're going to have to hear about how the Rams are favorites next year when they're a flawed franchise. Because Seattle's the best team, and I don't see a lot of holes other than like maybe some pass rush depth. And we all were talking about Houston's the deadly defense, but we kind of forgot like Seattle's been this all year. And JSN's a top 10 receiver in this league. Dude, nobody can cover him. He's running free.
Wow. And something interesting to me. So the credit to the Patriots, no matter how much you want to, not rain on the parade, but you want to point out some things in their playoff. I mean, obviously they had a very easy schedule, but week 1 of the playoffs, They played a Justin Herbert team that had no offensive line and no run game because everybody was hurt. And they stampeded them a little bit. They also had a top 5 defense. They go in the final week or the second week. They played the number 1 defense in the league in the Houston Texans. But C.J. Stroud apparently doesn't know how to not be Superman. So he lost them that game with those 4 turnovers. So they were playing just a mediocre offense with a great defense. And then they played the Broncos, the number 2 defense in the NFL. Obviously, no Bo Nix. So you could say what you want to say about their playoff performance, how easy it might have been on the offensive side of their opponents. But you got to give them credit. They beat 3 top 5 defensive units to get where they're at. And now they're playing another top defense in the league with the Seattle Seahawks. However, the difference to me, they have not played a team with this high-powered of an offense, like matched with their defense in the playoffs, if that makes sense. I mean, this is pretty much like them going against the Broncos if they had the Seahawks defense, offense right now in the Super Bowl. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of develop playing against a team that actually can put up points and is not going to put up 16 or less. So excited for the Super Bowl, and we'll see how they do. But obviously going Seattle right there. But
oh yeah, and what cracks me about this whole thing with Seattle is that, dude, the whole Pope thing is hilarious. I brought this up to Kate. I said, listen, the last 3 times there's been a new Pope, or 2 times there's been a Seattle Seahawks appearance in the Super Bowl. 06 against the Steelers when they lost. Then you have 13 against the Broncos where they smoked them. And then you have 2025 where they are now with the new guy from Chicago, Pope Leo. They're going back to Super Bowl again. It's crazy. You just might as well just book it in on DraftKings. Every time there's a new Pope, just lock it up.
Yeah.
Seahawks going to the bowl. But my final thoughts on this were, dude, it looked like Seattle they were playing with their food. This looked like very much like Philadelphia last year against the Rams without the weather, where it's just like they easily should be pulling away from this team, but they were messing around, and the Rams were smart enough to take advantage of the mistakes. And if Seattle plays that way against New England, they might not get so lucky, because as much as I think if the Rams play New England in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, New England wins. I think New England was the second best team in this Final Four. Even with a healthy Bo Nix, I think they still beat them. I think the weather accumulated to slowing down that offense for New England because they started to get the ball moving before the snow hit. But I think New England will beat the Rams. This being said, those Seahawks are still the best team that was left, and they won. Clearly, they should have won by more, like you said. So, moving on to Patriots and the Broncos, maybe the weirdest game I've watched in a while. Also, I got to give a quick shout out to Miss Katie because she had me crying before the game started. She saw a picture of Jarrett Stidham and said to me, "Is that Ted Bundy?" And I almost lost it. I was laughing so hard. So Matt, I know as a horror movie film and true crime fan, you'd appreciate that joke. She said, like, look, I'm like, and then she showed me a picture of like his mugshot. I'm like, oh my God, Jarrett Stidham from a certain angle in his helmet looks like Ted Bundy. I'm like, that's crazy. And then he proceeded to murder his own team's playoff chances with some of the dumbest fourth quarter I've ever seen. There's not much to talk about with this game, other than the fact that the Patriots defense came to play. They made one bad blown coverage play. I saw it off the rip on that first drive. I saw Marvin Mims get an inside release on Gonzo, and I saw the safety looking in the backfield. I'm like, that's 6. He ended up getting tackled, and it was just an easy flip. 2 bad plays and a missed field goal. That's basically Denver's entire offense. They were not able to move the football. New England's defense should hang their hat. Yes, it's Jarrett Stidham, but Jarrett Stidham can actually throw the football. Not amazingly like Bo Nix, but he still is not terrible. And to Josh McDaniels, bro, what was your game plan, man? Dude, that was like the second the snow started hitting, it looked like they looked like deer in the headlights. Andy Borregales, dude, I love Andy because he's a Kane, man. You gotta show some love, but bro, he was breaking my heart. Like, I'm trying to defend him to like people who are Patriots fans that I know. And I'm like, I can't even defend this kid right now. He's just shanking him left and right. Like, bro, what are you doing? This is awful. Like, I couldn't even believe it. So, thoughts on Patriots Broncos, Matt?
The kicking, I know the weather played effect, but the kicking on both sides was terrible.
God, atrocious.
I watch McManus, who's relatively a very solid. He's their kicker, right? He's still healthy. He's not hurt. I'm not missing anybody that might be stepped in for him.
It's McManus.
Right. He is a relatively solid, reliable kicker. He's a guy that you really usually don't have to worry about in a situation like that, especially when it's within the 40-something yards. And that they both shanked him. And the biggest thing for me, I was talking to my friend who's a Broncos fan. When you're in the AFC Championship game and you're playing with your backup quarterback, you got to take the points when you can. It's not like Bo Nix is back there to help you out on a 4th down conversion. You got a guy that hasn't started in 2 years. Kick the field goal. The weather's good. Get the points. If they did that, it would have been a 10-10 game. Stidham, I was actually feeling pretty good about in that first quarter. That touchdown drive.
First quarter, Mims was great. He made the right read. Yeah. And
I was like, you know what? This could be something. I mean, this guy, like I said, all he has to do is play better than Stroud, and technically he did. But it was once the weather came in, it was ugly. And the rest is history. It was a 17-point total game, 10 points Patriots, 7 to the Broncos. Offenses on both sides looked really bad. Defenses on both sides look great, which makes the Super Bowl was going to be a lot of fun defensively. But that was really it. I mean, the weather kicked in and both teams kind of shut down. They just ran the ball a lot, which is obviously expected, but the kicking was just bad. And there was just so many times that Broncos were back in it because of those kicking, and they just weren't able to move the ball.
If New England wants to pull off this upset and get their 7th and 8th Super Bowl, or 7th Super Bowl, right? 7th? Yeah.
7th.
They have to button up and understand that, listen, like they can't make mistakes. They have to basically be Philadelphia against them in Super Bowl 52. They cannot. They're underdogs. Let's be straight up here. They're New England's underdogs going into this game in Santa Clara. But listen, if there's a team that can do it, this New England team, they have explosive run game. Their receivers are hard to cover. They have a good tight end. They can rush the passer. Their corners are athletic and they make you stops, and they're fast on the linebackers. You got to clean up the special teams or you will lose. So, Borgalis, I love you. Shout out the Canes. Shout out your brother, Jose. I love them both. You have to understand that you need to make your kicks. And you got to not punt the ball out of bounds inside your own 45. Like, that's stupid to me. But they survived. They did good. Congrats to the Pats on going. Yeah. I wish there was more to talk about this game, but it was a lot of punting and snow and mistakes.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I can say to end it on my end is, shout out to the Broncos in general. I think if Bo Nix wasn't hurt, I think this could have been their year. I think it could have been a Denver-Seattle Super Bowl. But I got to also tip my cap to Sean Payton. I mean, how long has he probably heard the whole, Drew Brees was who it was. And, the tale as old as time where who made who, the coach or the quarterback, with Brady, exactly. Belichick, Peyton, Brees.
We know it was Brady.
Yeah. Oh, and shout out to Sean Payton. He's showing everybody that, hey, it was both of us. Brees is amazing. I'm also a great coach. And, shout out to him for separating himself in that, argument. But that's really all. Like you said, it was snow, punts, missed kicks, failed 4th down, 3rd down conversions, and repeat.
Well, there you go. I'm not going to lie. This makes me, as I start to see more about, I could just see Bill Belichick stewing in a North Carolina house with Jordan sitting there, just trying to kind of coax him back into doing stuff for North Carolina for recruiting, and he's just sitting there stewing, hating everything because the quarterback, the year after he gets sacked, the quarterback they draft gets him a Super Bowl. Then his heir apparent, his former assistant, his former player, leads them there as the prodigal son, right? Mm-hmm. He's got to be hating everything. I could just see the pettiness and the hatred coming out of Belichick right now.
I wonder, do you think Belichick would have drafted Drake May if he was still
there?
No,
he would have tried to overthink the wheel and gone and get something the 3rd or 4th round.
He would have traded back.
Oh, totally.
Back.
He would have, or he would have drafted like a defensive, a defensive end or something like that, who would be like a workout warrior. I don't know. Belichick, I swear to God, he's too good for his ego. Literally, is the reason why he's probably not coaching in the NFL anymore. All right, so UFC news. Justin Gaethje knocked out Paddy Pimblett.
No, he didn't knock him out. It was decision.
It was decision. Sorry, his decision.
He whooped his ass.
Oh, he whooped it. Yeah, Gaethje whooped him. My bad. I didn't watch the fight. I was exhausted when they were doing it. Was out having a very nice dinner and got home and was within an hour.
Oh, yeah.
I will say this. I watched the fight. I had a friend of mine. She texted me multiple times asking me about the fight. I said, I don't know, put money on Paddy for a decision. I don't know. Seemed like the safest bet. And Gaethje, dude, a couple of those punches were like brutal.
Yeah. Listen, I gotta give credit to both guys. Both guys have chins of steel because they both took shots. And there was a lot of times where I thought Paddy was going to get finished and he fought back. And there was times where he dazed Gaethje, and I thought that he might kind of turn it around. Watching the fight, realistically, I'd say Gaethje won 4 rounds to 1. You could argue maybe he won 3 rounds to 2. But an amazing performance on Gaethje's end. Paddy, I thought, was going to go in there, and I thought he was going to win that fight. I'm not going to lie. I thought he was going to knock Gaethje out. I didn't know when in the fight. I just figured he was going to win, and that he did not. But he was dominated most 90, 80% of the fight by Gaethje, so hats off to him. The new interim champion with Gaethje. Paddy's going to have to start from the back now. Maybe he gets another fight, another top 5, and goes from there. He's young. He's only, I think he's 30, so he's still a young guy. He's got some time left. But I'm a big Paddy fan. I think he's the future, so I'm hoping that
he's fun.
I'm hoping he gets back in the picture. Yeah, he's fun, and I hope he gets back in the picture soon. He's like the London, not London, but he's like the English Conor McGregor.
Yeah, my favorite thing was watching the highlights of him and Gaethje just duking it out like that. That reminded me of like the UFC fights you and Pat used to show me in college, where like these dudes are just trying to slug it out.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love it.
Shout out also to everybody listening. UFC is now on Paramount Plus. You may have to fight through ads. You may not have the corner cameras anymore. But for $8.99, you can watch all the UFC fights without having to pay for the subscription plus the pay-per-view.
This might actually make me watch UFC again. This is actually because like I have Paramount Plus. I will do this. Like honestly, I know I don't know like how certain people, my friends, like are about it. But like if I'm by myself on a Saturday, it's like okay, I need something to watch. Like I'll watch UFC like that. That's entertaining, more entertaining than boxing at this point. All right. Other headlines: Steelers hire Mike McCarthy in the most wow. That is. So Steelers is not even funny. Dude looks like he's from Pittsburgh. I think he's actually from Western PA. Him and Rodgers reuniting would be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, even though I think Rodgers is probably done. Hilarious to me. Giannis Antetokounmpo is out 4 to 6 weeks of the calf strain. Rough for the Bucks. I think that probably is their season. They're done. Yeah. Chicago Bulls announcing they are retiring Derrick Rose's number 1 jersey. Awesome. Great for Derrick Rose. One of the youngest MVP ever and also one of the most entertaining MVPs I've ever seen in my life. Other than that, we have one more I want to talk about tonight, and this one probably will get us through for another 15-20. Is the Pro Bowl, the Pro Bowl roster spot was announced today, obviously to replace Drake May. Guess who replaced him?
I know.
Shedeur Sanders. Now, Matt, can you do me a favor and pull up Mr. Sanders' stats? And then I'm gonna go also look and see who are some of the quarterbacks who could have been put in ahead of him for because I'm trying to figure out who the other quarterbacks are for the AFC. I believe it's Josh Allen, Drake May. And then who was the last one for the AFC? Was it Herbert? It was Herbert, right?
Yeah. Herbert.
Okay.
Maybe Stroud.
Yeah.
All right. It's not good. It's so 8 games, might I add. 8 games. 1,400 passing yards, which would mean he would be averaging 2,800 yards per the 16 games. So give or take, maybe you give him 3,000 passing yards for the whole year. Seven touchdowns.
Yeah.
And 10 interceptions. The only decent thing about this is that he had a 69.6 completion. So accurate, just a lot of turnovers.
Okay, so quarterbacks who I would put in ahead of Mr. Shedeur Sanders, Trevor Lawrence, easy one. Aaron Rodgers, Cameron Ward, not Daniel Jones hurt. CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco or Burrow, and then you get Shedeur Sanders. I'm ignoring Geno Smith, Tua, and obviously like some of the more injured guys like Mahomes and Knicks. Dude, like this is ridiculous. Put Trevor Lawrence in. The dude deserves it above anybody. I think this is a joke. This is just even more insulting than having to hear Mel Kiper tell us that the NFL draft is rigged. Listen, I want the kid to succeed, but like this is not the way to do it. Don't shoehorn him into the things like this. Like this is like when no knock to Snoop Huntley. Well, this is when they put Snoop Huntley in the Pro Bowl games a few years ago. It's like, why? Really?
The fact that actually I had to look it up just to be safe. I don't think he ever was. Let me see quick.
No, he went 1 year because I remember he played in the dodgeball games or whatever.
No, this is what I'm saying. So the fact that Shedeur Sanders was able to get to become a Pro Bowler off of the stats that I just read, yet Ryan Fitzpatrick in 2015 with the Jets had 31 touchdowns and an amazing season, which he broke a lot of franchise passing records in that 1 year. Didn't get a Pro Bowl at all, but you got this kid with 7 to 10 interception touchdown interception ratio. And I agree with everything you said. I would have put in Stroud, Lawrence, Burrow, Lamar, Flacco. I would have put Herbert. I would have put anybody in over him. And it's not like I'm not hating on him. It's just, it wasn't deserved. It was only half a season. He didn't have good stats. It doesn't make sense. He
wasn't even the best rookie quarterback. Like Ward had a better season. Like I'm trying to like understand this, and it's like he had one decent game where he threw for 4 touchdowns against a very bad team, but it's like. This doesn't legitimize his rookie season. If anything, it destabilizes what everyone's opinion is of him. Because now it's like you're like, okay, how much of it actually is us just being force fed him by like the NFL? So,
yeah. Shout out to Jeffrey in the chat. Buffalo is Canada. Damn right.
They're actually the only real team in New York. Actually, you guys play in Jersey. Just saying. The Jets actually have more claim because you all actually played in Long Island for a while. But
yeah, the Bills who endorsed the Toronto Blue Jays for the World Series.
They're closer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's the thing, Matt, you will never get sympathy as a Yankees fan. I'm sorry, you won't. You'll never because you guys have just have a cheap owner with $1 billion budget, and you guys are the reason the Dodgers have one of the 2 World Series. Yeah. So you'll never have my sympathy. I'll pull for the Yankees occasionally, but then you guys also did my boy A-Rod dirty. So I don't like. Also, you guys did it Randy Johnson dirty too. So I'm not gonna be like, listen, like, oh, my heart bleeds for Yankees fans. Listen, you guys get your 5-year 27 rings one more time. I just say 2001, and it makes y'all melt apparently.
Yeah, you guys. 9/11 was just not in your guys' thought that year. I don't want sympathy. I'll be the first one to tell you we don't deserve it because we're the Yankees and the long history. We don't deserve sympathy. It's like the Patriots wanting sympathy. It doesn't happen. But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, at least the Jets played in Long Island. They played at Shea Stadium for a little bit. And then in that little graphic, we forgot Leonard Williams is also drafted by the Jets, traded to the Giants, went to Seattle. So he is another one of those leaving New York, you get to the Super Bowl kind of guys.
Yeah, I love how he's trying to take shots at Milt Williams. Like, bro, we just won the Super Bowl last year. You guys haven't won since I was a junior in high school. Like, get off.
This is going to be a fun Super Bowl. I'm excited. Somebody actually I saw online on X. Somebody put $25 before the season started on Sam Darnold to be the Super Bowl MVP, and it's looking very good. And that 25 could turn into $5,000 for that young man or older man. I don't know who he is, but shout out to New York Jets. I think it was New York Jets Mike. Maybe. That'll be a nice little hit right there. And as long as they win, I mean, they usually give it to the quarterback. I mean, sometimes, mostly.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that actually brings up to like the point. Like, where do you see the MVP going now? Because now Stafford just lost. Now this Drake, but Drake May wasn't good enough for me to close the gap. But then, like, you don't give it to McCaffrey because he was obsolete when they lost Seattle. Do you have to just give it to Stafford because it's like by de facto? Honestly, this is the thing that pisses me off because honestly, last year it should have been Saquon. He was clearly the best player in the league, but they had to give it to a quarterback. But now it's like you can't give it to Drake May because his numbers were crap in the playoffs. Yeah. I guess you give it to. I guess by default you give it to Stafford, like a legacy thing. I'll do it. I mean, I don't care. He played good enough for his team to win. So you know what? I take my thought back. I think Stafford gets the MVP, but I don't know. It's a weird place to be right now because like this is the first time in a while where there's not like a glaring guy to win. It's kind of like, I mean, if you wanted for me to throw out a wild card, give it to JSN. He's basically half their offense in Seattle. Yeah, he occupies at least 2 defenders every single time. He still led the league in receiving yards. I think it was top 10 and top 5 in touchdowns. So yeah, to me, yeah, why not? Also, playoff MVP right now is Kenneth Walker. Dude is a menace. He's been waiting for them to stop, like making him share carries. He's attacking that secondary like it owes him money.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to judge it off of the regular season, I think hands down it's Stafford. He like I said, they had the same amount of interceptions. He had, I think, like 400 more passing yards, but he also had like 15 more touchdowns. So I think regular season wise, you got to give it to Stafford. Playoffs wise, I give a little bit of an advantage to Drake May, even though he hasn't played amazingly. He still has his team in the Super Bowl. I think the deciding factor. Well, no, that's not true because they're going to decide it before the Super Bowl. I would have said the deciding factor would have been how he performs in the Super Bowl, but they're going to announce that I think the week of the Pro Bowls when they do those awards.
No, it's it's like the Thursday or Friday before the Super Bowl they announce it.
Yeah, I think stats wise you got to give the edge to Stafford, and I mean he played very well last week too compared to Drake May that didn't. So I think it's got to be Stafford. Wouldn't be shocked if they give it to May. I think both guys are deserving. I think if I had to choose, I think you have a little bit of a leverage towards Stafford.
I'm with it. I think Stafford wins. I think in reality, the NFL needs to reevaluate how they look at the MVP award because this is becoming a joke of how like teams, like how it's voted. Like last year, hands down, it was Saquon. 2021, hands down, it was Cooper Kupp. Like we need to stop with this has to be a quarterback crap because this is what makes the Heisman Trophy an effing joke. And you can't tell me, and I'm sorry, Travis Hunter didn't help the argument for the Heisman. Honestly, he made it worse. So, and all due respect to Travis Hunter, he had a phenomenal season, but he was great at both positions, but he wasn't elite. The only elite player at his position last year who went to the Heisman was Cam Ward. That was it. So, or Ashton Genty. Honestly, I would have been happy losing to Genty. It should have been Genty, Ward, then Hunter, if you want my honest to God opinion about last year. But this year, I guess it's Mendoza because the rest of that offense was just the rest of this field was a joke this year. Oh, so Matthew, I am actually in the lead by 1. Because remember, playoff wins are 2 points.
Okay. So technically still, I could still win if the Seahawks win because that would jump me up to 1 point ahead of you.
Yeah, it basically
we're still going into the Super Bowl.
Yes, Super Bowl still makes it. We like the only I could be such a tool and pick the Seahawks. and just punt and just basically run out the clock. But that's not how we do things here on the Korner Booth.
I couldn't be upset at it.
I'll happily sacrifice a logical pick for my girlfriend and her family's happiness. They're all Patriots fans, and honestly, it'd be really cool to see Drake May and Mike Vrabel win a Super Bowl. And it's hilarious that the whole Mike Vrabel thing is coming back up from Busting with the Boys.
Yeah.
And I don't even care about that at this point anymore. I just love that they're making the Patriots lovable, not to Jets, Bills, and Giants and Dolphins fans, but to the rest of us, like us Eagles fans. We don't care. We got our lick back on the Patriots in 2017, and then in 2019, and in 2023 when we played them again. We don't care. We're good. New England and Philly, we straight. But like, I love it because I love watching Giants fans squirm about this. I love seeing Belichick truthers lose their minds. And I love seeing like the bitter NFC East fans, like Dolphins and Bills fans. Like the Bills to me have become the unlikable loser to me. But also, who the hell is getting the Bills job?
I don't know. It was weird. They interviewed Phillip Rivers and he kind of withdrew. I don't know. I heard a rumor that the Steelers were going with McCarthy because Chris Shula bombed his virtual interview with them. So they were saying that he may not be a great interviewer. I guess like for the Bills, I think it makes sense if they try and hold out for Clint Kubiak. Because McDaniels went to the Chargers for an OC. I mean, the top guys are kind of off the board with Harbaugh, Stefanski, and the McCarthy. They all have jobs.
Yeah.
And obviously they're not going McDermott. So I think I would have to say if they don't hire Dable or promote Brady, Joe Brady, I think Clint Kubiak has to be that clear-cut guy. But also, like you're saying, there's still the Browns. There's still the Raiders. You still have, obviously, Buffalo. And the Ravens didn't have a coach yet, right?
No, they got Jesse Minter.
Oh, they did get Jesse Minter, yeah. Actually,
and then you have like the big coordinator spot, which is Philadelphia's OC.
Yeah. So I mean, they're going to be fighting with. I mean, the Raiders are going to be an attractive one, having the number one pick. The Bills are obviously the top tier because you have Josh Allen right there. Nobody wants the Browns.
Cardinals too.
Oh, Cardinals! I forget about the Cardinals.
I think Cardinals are. I heard Raheem Morris is their idea, which is hilarious to me, dude. Just like staying a below 500 team. It's just funny. I like the curse of Jonathan Gannon continues, and it makes me so happy because the Cardinals just had to try to tamper with our team. Yes, Jonathan Gannon is a moron, but he wasn't dumb enough to not we should have beaten Kansas City. Philly should have 3 Super Bowls right now.
Yeah,
they should.
And speaking of coordinators, so it looks like the DC job with the Jets is heavily linked to Wink Martindale, which I won't be upset about.
I love that.
I would like Wink Martindale. I think he runs a nice tight ship on defense. And
then he'll whip them boys into shape real fast,
dude. You know what? To go from Rex Ryan, who wore the white long sleeves with the black sweater, to go to Wink Martindale, who wears the white compression shirts with the cutoff sweatshirt, that would be amazing. I would love that right there. But also, apparently, I don't know. Jim Leonard is a name that I've heard. What I would love, I think he's the defensive backs coach for the Broncos. I would love that. Also, it's never good when your first-year head coach is pretty much firing all of his staff that he hired the year before. Aaron Glenn is pretty much firing and demoting everybody. And a name that I've heard for an OC, which I want to get your take on, is Frank Reich.
I love Frank Reich. I would love Frank Reich to be our OC, but if he goes to you guys, even better. You know why? He has no longer any ambitions of being a head coach. He just wants to coach. Frank Reich would be great for multiple reasons. He runs a very simple West Coast offense that made Carson Wentz an MVP candidate and made Nick Foles a butcher during the playoffs. So I like, to me, the whole Frank Reich thing, he wasn't a great coach at Indy. Listen, that Indy hasn't been a desirable job to anybody probably pre-Andrew Luck. I'm talking Peyton Manning. Because, let's be honest. When Ryan Gregson's the GM, that team had no O-line. Then once the new regime came in, the whole Saturday fiasco, with the stuff with Frank Reich when he was fired basically for like the Frank Reich firing was stupid to me. And then I look at the whole thing. And now you got Jim Irsay's deaths now under investigation, which is wild to me.
Yeah. Insane.
I think Indy owes Frank Reich an apology. Like, their entire organization is literally like a funhouse right now. I'm like, what the hell am I witnessing? So I don't know what's happening. So it's going to be a crazy stuff. I would love Frank Reich for us. I would like the kid from the OC from the freaking Rams. Nothing would make me happier than watching us like snake an OC from the Rams. It'd be hilarious.
That'd be awesome. One thing I noticed when I was looking up Frank Reich, when he was with the coordinator with the Chargers, even though the one year they went 4-12, they had like the top 4 passing offense. And then same with Philly. They had a high-powered passing offense. In 2017, the offense was amazing. So, I mean, he was always middle of the pack with points scored and everything like that, but I need somebody that's going to be able to get my quarterback going. And looking at that, he's usually pretty consistent with having a nice passing offense. So if that guy can take whatever quarterback we take and turns him into a top passer, I will take it. But like Frank Reich and like Wink Martindale would be 2 big coordinators that this team could sign, and I'm just tired of this team always going rookie. Nothing wrong with going for a guy that's got 20 plus years experience, that's had success in this time in various spots. So I'll take it if that all happens. But I did hear that they did demote the OC after 1 year, and that Frank Reich is heavily thought of to be, or is expected possibly to be the next guy. Per Connor Hughes was saying that was heavily the thought, was that it was going to be him.
My one fear about Philly right now is that like the whole egging of Kevin Patullo's house is one of the big reasons why a lot of these OCs are like, I don't want to be involved in this. And it's unfortunate because you get a top 10 quarterback, top 5 to a lot of people. You get a top 5 wide receiver, a top 15 wide receiver, top 10 tight end, top 3 running back, an offensive line with just a little tooling, probably still top 5. And you have Vic Fangio's elite defense on the other side of the ball. To me, what's the worst you have to do with Nick Sirianni, who basically is just going to hype you up every week? To me, I think it's a great job. I think the biggest issue is like everyone looked at Patullo, but the problem is Patullo was Sirianni's boy, and we knew it was a bad idea from the start. Like we all were. You remember when they hired him? I was like, I tried to be optimistic, but I was a little nervous. I would love Frank to come in for us because he is Sirianni's mentor. Also, Frank is Philly royalty, man. He helped us win our first Super Bowl. So if it wasn't for Josh McDoofus to pull in a 180 on the Colts, we probably would have won again in 2018. Or at least had a better shot. So I'm with Frank Reich coming to Philly or to the Jets. I think he's a good fit for either one of them. I'd obviously prefer him to come into us, but you know, I would love to see him. I would love Dougie P, honestly, even though him and Sirianni be an interesting. Him and Sirianni be a hilarious combo.
I was just gonna say, like, if not Frank Reich, like Doug Peterson would be a familiar face that's a good with offense that could come in and make.
I was gonna say for you guys, Doug Peterson would be great too.
Yeah, as long as he's not a rookie.
Dude, honestly, I keep telling people the quarterback I want for the Jets is I love Beck for you guys. Run the football, play action, quick reads, nothing out of control in a West Coast system. He'd be great.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, maybe Frank Reich comes in, maybe takes Carson Wentz with them, and they draft Beck or somebody in like the rounds like 3 and give him some time. If that buys Aaron Glenn another year, I don't know, but I think, I mean, if I'm Aaron Glenn, I think you gotta, if you can't do anything you can to get Mendoza at 1 with a trade of some sort, which probably won't happen, there's gotta be some sort of plan B. I like Muji. We'll see what happens, but for the Eagles, like if you don't get Reich, I like Peterson, and I'd also monitor the Dable situation. I don't know if they talked to him or not, but
they did. He wants to go to the Colts over us. I mean, all right, the Titans.
Well, Rob Saleh's not known for putting together a strong staff. So, but besides Ulbrich was a great defensive coordinator for us.
He already interviewed with us, but apparently he didn't want to be with us. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
It's just so weird. Like you said, I understand the whole Kevin Patullo thing, but like you just mentioned, every player on that offense and how they're ranked, and that should be the most desirable coordinator position.
All I know is I keep seeing linking Ruben Bain to the Jets, and that would make me so happy.
That'd be great.
Guys.
I could be upset at that.
I love Big Rube, man. I think he's a hell of a player. I think him going to the Cowboys, the Commanders would break my heart. So send Big Rube to Big Green, and let's do this. Yeah, Hector's cracking me up. He's like, "Oh, save the NFL." It's like, bro, this isn't the Patriots dynasty. This a lot of teams had very down years, and they just took advantage of a down year. I love how everyone's like thinking the sky's falling. It's like Drake May's not Tom Brady. He's a good quarterback. He's not Tom Brady. And Mike Vrabel's not Belichick. Mike Vrabel's closer to Nick Sirianni than he is to Bill Belichick. I think this is NFL parity. I'm okay with it. Listen, I'd love either way. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, it's a great story. That's my opinion on this, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I agree. I like Vrabel a lot. Obviously, now that he's on the other side of the in New England, I'm not a big fan, obviously, but I feel Hector. I mean, I feel the same way. I know this doesn't mean the Patriots dynasty is back, but I don't need to see them hoist that trophy again.
All right. Well, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
I don't hate the hiring of McCarthy. I think he's going to be a good offensive-minded guy that can get them 12 wins. Obviously he didn't have the playoff success with Dallas, but I don't think he's a bad coach. But I don't think it was a major upgrade at any circumstance. So, and it's a little unorthodox. They're not going with a young guy that could be there for the next 15 years. They're going with a guy who's in his early 60s that maybe could give you, if everything works out, maybe he gives you 10. Maybe. We've seen coaches coach into their 70s, so it's not unlikely. But I don't know if this means Rodgers comes back. I think this gives him more comfort into thinking about coming back to the Steelers for another year if they want him. But like I said, he's 42 and he's on the wrong side of his career for football with his age, and he's not going to get any better. So if they do, you're going to have to draft somebody, because I don't think Will Howard's going to be the answer.
Yeah, there's a lot of quarterback need in this draft, man, and free agency. It's going to be really crazy. What March, I think, is going to tell us a lot about this draft. I don't even know who's available right now, because I know Darnold's not. Is Geno still on the market? Because they just gave Geno a new contract.
He's still, I think he's like a 3-year. I think he got.
Yeah, we'll look at the available. We'll talk about that obviously once Super Bowl's up. But no show Thursday. Obviously, we always take our little 1 week hiatus between the, because it's the in between week is always brutal. There's nothing going on, so we back obviously next Monday with me, Nate, and Matt. Kicking off Super Bowl week. It's gonna be crazy.
I guess we should officially announce that for the final week of the 6-pack, I'll be taking the Seahawks. Jared's going to be taking the Patriots, and winner of that game wins the 6-pack.
Yeah. I don't even know what jersey I'd pick. I literally don't know what I want. Like, do I want like a Jalen Carter? Do I want like a Miami throwback? Do I want to get like a Diamondback jersey? I don't know what I'm getting, because I never get this far. I usually lose to Matt, usually by week 10. And like the 3 years I won, Kevin, Savannah and Pat or Mark never pumped out. So I was always kind of just like, well, this sucks.
If you win, get whatever jersey you want and let us know. If I win, I'm going to take your advice. I think I'm going to go with an LSU jersey of some sort. I think I'm going to stray away from the Jets, and I'm going to look at something from college, maybe a Burrow, maybe a Daniel, maybe a Neighbors, maybe a Beckham, maybe a Jefferson. But I think I'm gonna go college this year if I were to win.
Nice. I think that's the vibe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have an amazing week and a half. We'll see you on Monday again for Super Bowl Monday, which is gonna be a crazy time. Nate will be back, obviously, hopefully with 3rd and 10 tomorrow with Brian. No show this Thursday, obviously. There's no picks, nothing to do with that. We have a new leader in the clubhouse for the second time this season. I have pulled into first place with 1 week to go. And it all depends on the New England Patriots to get me my win in the 6-pack. This is the craziest 6-pack we've ever done. It's never gone this late in the season. Last year, Matt knocked me out by the divisional round. So, yeah. And you think I was in 4th place for almost half the year.
Yeah. You
crazy. Bad. Dude. That's like start playing like the music from like Creed 2. Let's talk about comebacks. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. We'll see you Monday. Enjoy yourselves. Try to stay warm. It is cold as hell out there. And yeah, shout out to Belly Up, our sponsors, of course. SeatGeek, promo code Belly Sports, $20 off. First initial purchase, first only, not repeating. Righteous Felon, promo code Belly Up 20. Belly Up for 50% off your first checkout. Best meat snacks on the market. You can find them at every gas station, but we have the best promo code. And of course, our friends over at Canada, they've been sponsoring the show for years. Belly Up 20 is obviously the post. I just got a shipment in today. I actually have to send it back for like some reason, whatever. No, I actually don't send it back. I have to talk to them about some other shit. But listen, great company, excellent customer service, best supplements on the market. Gotta love it. Have a good weekend, folks. And we'll see you Monday.